While at work one day, I got a call and immediately perceived the guest as a client I helped with a home buy months sooner. Listening further, I recognized serious worry in his voice as I'd never heard from him. As the client talked, I tuned in while consequently going through a concise mental agenda of his shut exchange. Administrative work finished accurately? Check. Home investigation performed? Check. All investigation issues tended to or arranged? Check. Building licenses investigated? Check. Protection, title report, credit and shutting records are dealt with? Check. I go through a couple of additional things in my psyche, then hear him give the signal phantom. Subsequent to taking a gander at many homes, this purchaser and his better half wound up making a proposition that had some to and fro on the cost, however it was at last acknowledged. Glancing back at the exchange, there was never any sign to recommend this would be everything except a typical home buy. Furthermore, everything was typical. Until after the exchange shut. Which is when things took a firmly unique turn. Not extremely lengthy after this purchaser and his better half moved into their as of late bought home, I learned they started to hear peculiar commotions, normally around midnight, as around 2 or 3 a.m. However, at that point things got a lot stranger. The sounds they heard seemed to radiate from inside the house for not a great explanation. Seems as though dropped silverware, moving furnishings, chimes ringing. You understand. There was not an obvious explanation for them to anticipate these sounds, yet they were clearly coming from inside the house and at odd hours. Sooner or later of having their rest upset, the homebuyers became concerned and started to make an inquiry or to the area. Do you hear peculiar sounds around evening time as we do? Subsequent to being told no by something like one neighbor inquired as to whether the homebuyers had some awareness of the occasion that had happened inside their home. The new proprietor said no. Story particulars shift, however the neighbor obviously made sense of that a kid had kicked the bucket inside the house and was then let go on the property. Naturally, this troubled the homebuyers, who figured they ought to have been told prior to purchasing the home. In the wake of talking with the homebuyers, I next called the merchant's realtor for the exchange and just inquired, did you had any idea about that the property had a background marked by a demise in the house? Indeed, he immediately replied, then, at that point, circled back to what I knew lined up with what Oregon realtors are told in regards to state land regulation. Be that as it may, my chief agent let me know we didn't need to reveal it. And he was right. I likewise grasped that specific real estate agent's trustee obligation to his dealer client, since, in such a case that the vendor's representative had transparently uncovered the circumstance while promoting it, there was a decent opportunity the property would have sold for extensively less. Typically, the standard is uncover, regardless of whether a thing appears to be unimportant. Yet in this occasion, there was no state regulation requiring such divulgence and the dealer had a personal stake in not bringing the issue up. Because of the effect of their home acquisition of the derided home, the homebuyers moved and eventually leased the property. Seeing this upsetting circumstance made them examination to more readily figure out what could have been done another way. At that point, there were no web-based assets exclusively devoted to deciding whether a house is vilified. What's more, rehashed online inquiries at last turned up a solitary report connecting with the property. Notwithstanding, that was achieved by a hunt utilizing the particular house address and covered in a rundown of other site data. It was basically an extremely elusive little thing. One explanation defamed properties are different is that they don't influence everybody the same way. Another explanation is on the grounds that factors that slander a property shift. Some are unquestionably frightful, as brutal passing, while other, more normal deriding factors make restricted mental difference, similar to bank dispossession. However, different marks of shame, like a previous meth lab, are doubly problematic since they convey both a market disgrace, in addition to can deliver a property unfinanceable. Another justification for why trashed properties are extraordinarily not the same as expected issues, similar to say dry decay or a flawed rooftop, is that they much of the time include exceptionally human feelings. Furthermore, when we consider what makes a home, where youngsters are raised, birthday events and commemorations are commended and many treasured recollections are made, good judgment directs that a house ought to comport with the land idea of calm pleasure, in particular being stirred at 3 a.m. to the creepy hints of the phantom of a kid.